This video is the second part in my series on how Hell is ruled by its various elites, in Hazbin Hotel and Helluva Boss. The last video focused on the overlords in the Pride Ring, and you can click up here in the corner if you want to watch it, or use the link in the description down below. But today we're going to be talking about Satan, how he rules over the Wrath Ring, and its primary species, Imps. Next, we will be talking about how Beelzebub rules the Gluttony Ring, one of the videos I'm most excited for in this series, so please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss it. Wrath is the second ring of Hell, one down from the Pride Ring, and is ruled over by Satan. Satan and Lucifer are often synonymous in Christian mythology, though have been considered distinct entities as well. In some cases, they are considered dual aspects of the same source of evil, in which Lucifer is said to rule over Hell, and Satan is his physical aspect who walks the earth trying to conquer it. Helluva Boss uses the Peter Binsfeld classification of demons, which lists Lucifer and Satan as separate entities, though I imagine their relationship is similar to the one described before, with Satan being second in power after Lucifer and his family, and being a sort of commander-in-chief or general for Hell's armies. The Wrath Ring is mostly seen in the show as being the home of imps like Moxie and Millie. We got a good look at Millie's home in episode 5, which was a small farming town that helped provide the food that Wrath Imps make for all of Hell. Moxie appears to be from somewhere with a bit more wealth, which I theorized to be a city called Los Satania, as seen on the Veroska Band t-shirt as where she performed in the Wrath Ring on her tour of Hell. Imps are known to revere Satan as a godlike figure, something other species don't do with the princes of their own rings, no matter how much they idolize them as celebrities, such as the way young Blitz and Fizzaroli had a celebrity worship for Mammon. Outside of farming, the Imps talk a lot about war and their involvement in it. Because of their adoration for Blitz's name, a lot of fans speculated that they were actually used in human wars, specifically in World War II in the case of Millie's parents, where Blitzkrieg was a popular name for a German war tactic. This would give the Imps a purpose similar to that of Succubus, but instead of being sent up to Earth by Asmodeus to seduce humans, they would be sent up by Satan to start war conflicts, or even participate in wars so that the victor would be whoever Lucifer and Satan desire, making the Earth easier to control. The Imps seem to naturally love all things violent and warlike, but it's also been implied that a lot of what they do is because they are too ignorant to understand that a better life is possible than that of just fighting in wars for overlords and farming food for the masses of Hell. No one in Millie's family seems to understand what freelance work is, and she has explained it so many times that she knows that they are just incapable of understanding it at this point. Some of this has to be a willful ignorance founded in pride for a certain lifestyle, as well as just an improper education about what else life could be. Both of these likely stem from Satan himself, who could purposely put in place a culture that robs most imps of their desire for other things. Unlike the other princes, Satan made himself a godlike figure to his imps, making it easy to brainwash them out of trying to disagree with his dogma for even logical reasons. He takes the thing imps love most, violence, and pushes it to an extreme. While they recognize themselves as the lowest class of Hell, they are basically brainwashed into believing that all they need is violence to be satisfied, even though their core needs involve not just violence, but also more comfortable living standards like everyone else. Part of the reason Satan is able to get away with this is using war missions as opportunities for money bonuses that give imps the impression that they are climbing up Hell's class system. The farming is something they do not just to sustain Hell, but also as a need for themselves, making it a work life that is hard to escape, as if you refuse to produce food, you will starve yourself as well. Farm work probably pays not even enough for imp families to get by on, but it involves enough slaughtering of crazy animals that it keeps the imps entertained between the war missions where they make their bigger money. With it being a risk of death and needing someone to run the farm while on missions, imps seem to have large families, and I imagine the young kids go on war missions to help support the family as well when they are old enough, and no longer need to stay behind just to take care of the farm, explaining why imps like Millie have so much great experience. The money that war missions would bring in would be barely enough to cover the cost of the extra children who have to stay behind to tend to the farm while out on war missions, and as such the imps would be stuck in a never-ending cycle of poverty and violence, being taught to take pride in the violence and their low-class lifestyles as part of what makes them unique. With how casual Millie is about the people she killed during their ceremonial games each year, it would seem that they are taught not to respect those who die and could not handle the violence of imps or their Wrath Ring lifestyle, making anyone who wishes to escape this seem like an outcast in their own community. It would be like the hate Moxie gets from Millie's parents, magnified to the most extreme degree possible. Some imps would still manage to escape this some way, however, and end up doing all sorts of things all over Hell, such as Blitz's father having his own circus, and imps getting their own city in the Pride Ring. In the present era, smarter imps like Millie manage to walk away and find success in things like Blitz's business, but too much of the community is lost in the brainwashing of Satan to even understand why she wanted to leave, let alone how she could be making more money out there or having more satisfying work. The worship of Satan isn't just as a godlike figure, but also as a celebrity figure like the other princes are. While he didn't lower himself to appear at the Harvest Moon Festival, specifically honoring the Imps of the Wrath Ring for their hard work harvesting food, he does have an app like the other princes do, one specifically for workouts. What makes the princes interesting is that, unlike our leaders, they are immortal, so they have used the many lifetimes of natives to figure out what they like and don't like, slowly erasing their memories over generations until they found a perfect balance to enslave their people while also making them think that they have the best lifestyle possible for them. While imps were said by Visipop to be the lowest of the low, however, hellhounds are often portrayed as being just one step below them. In Wrath, they pretty much ignore Luna, and she points out that they don't even bother asking to know her name. All she is to them is a hellhound. This is a pattern I expect to be common in the parts of Hell that aren't as diverse as Imp City, which despite its name also has sinners, Geisha, and succubus taking up an entire floor in Blitz's building, requiring Verosika's extra posse to have to work on Blitz's floor. Regardless of which species is higher in the hierarchy, both are more or less on the same level, being that they are at the very bottom. Hellhounds are generally treated as a servant class, and the Hellhound Adoption Foundation, where Blitz adopted Luna, gives the impression that they are being adopted by demons higher up in Hell's ranks and being raised as pets or servants. Imps can be servants, as we have seen at the Geisha castles, but the Wrath Imps as a general rule seem to be expected to die in wars on Earth at the whim of a prince like Satan, or another overlord who might have access to the human realm as well as their own agenda. Even if they don't take on that work, they run the risk of something going terribly wrong while farming, which is a much more dangerous process in Hell, considering how hard a time Moxie has wrestling down one pig. Imps see Hellhounds as a servant class, and Blitz adopting Luna reinforced that idea in the minds of Millie's family. While they may never have imagined seeing an Imp adopt a Hellhound in that way, it seemed like a more likely outcome than a Hellhound adopting an Imp baby, perhaps. As such, they see Luna as a servant, even if an oddity. If the reverse had happened, and an Imp was the odd man out in a primarily Hellhound community, they'd likely find themselves being treated as a lower class than the Hellhounds, both because of their perceived inferiorities, but also because of any class privilege that they may have held in an Imp community that the Hellhounds lack. They may both rationalize that the Imps are beneath them, and also that they were above them before, but them being in the Hellhound community has proven that they were never superior to begin with. At the end of the day, it is two classes at the bottom of Hell who probably have no real distinction of one having power over the other, and instead are both just considered to be among the lowest of the low. But for more information on Hellhounds, you'll have to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our next video, where we discuss how Beelzebub enslaved the Gluttony Ring, which I believe to be made up primarily of Hellhounds. If you guys don't want to wait for that video, we have this and a lot of other Hell of a Boss videos already up on our early access section on the members channel for just $4.99 a month. Just click that join button right next to the subscribe button. See you guys next time.